Well, hello there. Welcome to Bolt from the Blue Tarot. My name is Sam. I'm an intuitive card reader, and I've got some cards to intuitively read for you. First off, I've got some divinatory scrolls that I made, and yeah, we're just gonna shuffle these all up, see what wants to come out for you. All right, I'm gonna sort of spread these out, fan these out like a deck of cards, and ask Spirit which of these wants to come out. I think it is this one. Anything else from here? Going straight into this? Okay, we're going to pull more cards first, I think. From here. Yes. I will just say there's a little bit of an insistent energy coming through on my end, and it is not a pleasant one. That may factor into this reading. It may just be that something doesn't want you to hear this. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it too much. It's lightening just as I'm talking about it, so that's good. Let's see what wants to come out from wisdom from the epics of Hind. Annapurna's nourishment. More cards from here. Okay, maybe a little bit of a spread going here. Shishupala's mistakes. Ooh. That man has been beheaded. Let's see. More. Okay, I think we're also going to get a card or two from the storybook deck, and then we'll figure out where these energies go. Snow White after eating the apple. Card number 49. Is that it for now? Are you wanting me to read for either of these from the book? Getting a yes. Do we want that off the bat? hard to know without knowing the stories behind these cards. These two cards have never come out on the channel, ever, from the Wisdom from the Epics of Hind, which is a deck we use all the time. Okay, I think this is the correct order. Are you reading for this one? Okay, Annapurna's nourishment. Annapurna. One day, goddess Parvati had an argument with her consort, Lord Shiva. Shiva said that everything was Maya, illusion on earth. Oh, okay, good. I swapped between jackets because I'm doing a couple readings in a row, and it's hard to tell what video I'm uploading because it'll create a thumbnail, and it's just like the easiest thing to tell is what I'm wearing. So I make them different so I can tell the videos apart. But yeah, I was worried that I hadn't transferred my mic. With the like throat chakra energy here, yeah, there might be concern about, on your part, about whether what you're saying is correct, useful, whether you're just pouring sand out into an endless desert of sand. Interesting. Still gonna read from this? No. So I'm skipping ahead. Let's see. So with this energy, there's a sense that it's very angelic, or like an ascended master kind of energy. And I have been reading this as you, so it feels like you perhaps you know or are starting to realize this high frequency of energy that you hold and how this charges your words. You may be starting to realize, or you soon will realize, the value of your words, the value of your silence. Yeah, the value of your silence. What does that mean, though, Spirit? I'm getting to move on to the scroll, so let's see what this is holding for us. This is oddly specific, but I'm getting like a volcano erupting. Do you guys see the sides of the volcano, like the sides of the mountain? And it's sort of exploding out of the top. I'm just getting some weird, like, you might have I feel like your words charged with this frequency that you hold, but powered by your perception. With this ascended master energy, I just feel like you see people's essence. I mean, you see all of them. So you understand that you can, not because you want to, but you can trigger them. You can bring up very deep emotions in them. Like, and this can be like a Vesuvius style eruption, or it can be like a dredging up from deep within the earth, right? Deep within their psyche or within their lower chakras, like this heated energy that needs expression. And this can be a real healing gift if flowed in the correct fashion, in a useful fashion, I'll say. Or you can also just walk around like triggering volcanic eruptions. You know what I mean? You've realized that your words have the power to heal, but also that they create they elicit strong reactions from people's shadows. You know how we can trigger like some facet of someone's shadow? This is more like you trigger the whole thing at once, like all of the defense mechanisms, all at the same time. And I feel like you could do this with one sentence. Because you perceive them in their entirety. And it doesn't mean that you're judging them for any of it, especially not if you hold this ascended master energy. When you get to let me say this, from what I have read, when you get to this kind of energy, you don't judge even the people that you vehemently disagree with, right? They're another child of God, and you, child of the universe, if you prefer. But you see them for all that they are, every scar, every flaw. And it doesn't mean you condone it, but you accept it. It's this radical acceptance, and it's not a begrudging, like, I tolerate. It's like, for me anyway, it's become much more matter of fact. It's like this energy of like, oh yeah, I know. Like, I know that about you. People are like, but that's like the darkest secret I have. That part of me scares me. And it's just like this energy of, yeah, but I see it, and I see everyone's shadows, and once you start to do that, you can walk around terrified of everyone's dark side, or you can just radically accept them. compassionately as well. But because of this compassion, this discernment, you recognize that it's not useful to walk around triggering people into volcanic eruptions. Shishupala's mistakes. Do we want to read from the book for that one? Shishupala's mistakes. This book is alphabetized, but separated between male and female energies. I think this is a male energy. Shishupala was Lord Krishna's cousin. He was born with 3 eyes and an extra pair of arms. Sounds handy. It was predicted that when he met the person who would kill him, his extra hands and eye would disappear. And they did as soon as Krishna took the baby, Shishupala, on his lap. His worried mother made Krishna promise that he would forgive 100 errors made by her son. Shishupala wanted to marry Rukmini, but she did not reciprocate his feelings. At her own behest, Krishna abducted her and married her. At her own behest. Shishupala thus began hating Krishna. Sometimes when I read aloud for you guys, I get a little bit lost in the sauce, like trying to, and then I'm like, wait, what? What's going on with this story? Many years later, Shishupala was invited by the Pandavas to Yudhishthira's coronation. When Shishupala saw Krishna there, he started insulting him loudly. That was his 100th mistake. But Shishupala's anger was not pacified with the insulting. He had yet another go at Krishna, and that was his 101st mistake. Krishna promptly drew his weapon, a spinning disc of auspicious vision, Sudarshana Chakra, that sliced away Shishupala's head from his body. Ooh. Okay, so from the questions to ask yourself, there's a couple that are being highlighted. Are you still embarrassed about the mistakes of your past? Can you forgive yourself and others for their misdeeds? I think that's a little bit of the energy of, this isn't really changing how I view this, but I think there is this energy of, we can get a little bit frustrated when we just go around triggering, like we don't even mean to, but we shine this light onto people's darkness and they just react, right? Knee-jerk reactions. And it can get really frustrating. And if you're not careful, you can be in this energy of like, why doesn't everyone just grow the F up, right? Like, why can't they be adults? But I think a couple of these questions are coming out to say, like, first of all, if you have triggered people and, you know, what you were saying was wise and it was discerning, and yet still people were triggered, you know, there's some encouragement there about like, that might be a mistake of yours, but it's like, if you use discernment, but it still made them blow up, does that mean that your discernment was wrong? Or does that mean that their shadow is overactive in regards to whatever you were shining your light on, right? There's that question. There's also like a little bit of a remembrance that most likely you were not born with this, I don't know, bodhisattva energy and you just kept it throughout your entire life, right? You might have fallen asleep for a little while there. And there's some remembrance here that you too were once deeply and quickly triggered by your shadow having light shone upon it. You too have known egoic action or actions driven out of fear or lack. So this can help you hold compassion for others as well, because it's not just an act of empathy to imagine what it's like in their shoes. You have stood in them, right? Maybe not the same exact situation, but you too have been asleep. You too have not always acted from your highest self. You too have been on a healing journey and may still have much to heal, right? All right, let's see if there's any actions to take here for you. It's being highlighted. Actions to take: affirm, I forgive myself and all those who have hurt me in the past, or I accept the mistakes of my past gracefully 40 times every day for at least 40 days. The author of this deck does not mess around. 40 times every day for 40 days. So, a mantra can help here, is what I'm getting from that, or affirmations as well, in remembrance of the sacredness of other people, whether or not they are awake, right? The reverence that you have for them as fellow human beings, regardless of their state of self-awareness. It doesn't mean you allow them to siphon your energy. It doesn't mean that you enable them. But it does mean that you're compassionate towards their struggle with the ego, their struggle with trauma is a lot of what the shadow is, yeah. Let's see, anything else from this card? Oh, lots of advice. Stop berating others publicly for their missteps. I don't think that's you. I don't think you're doing that. So, pat on the back there for not berating others publicly. Don't push your luck with annoying behavior. Wow. Yeah, so lots of different messages from this card. Okay, so yeah, I read that as funny, but there's a little bit of a reminder where I mentioned earlier that you may find it annoying that other people are just triggered by you. Like, it's very frustrating, right? When you're just trying to be pleasant, when you're just being warm, and people are like, I don't know what this is about, and I hate it. You don't love me like that. I don't deserve that. And they like self-destruct. That is frustrating to you. Just know that it can be annoying on the other end for you to be like, in your highest self all the time, like all love and light all the time. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be, okay? Remember, it's like either side of this, this explosion is Like, it doesn't have to be an explosion in the middle if we're met with radical empathy on either end. You're unlikely to be met with radical empathy by the people literally losing their heads over the things that you say. However, because there's a literal halo around your crown chakra, it does mean that you can radically meet them with empathy, especially because you have once resided in a similar energy to them. So you are self-aware enough to do this. Remember that I'm not saying it's wrong to act from your higher self, even if you're doing it all the time. I think that's actually like ascended master kind of stuff. That's like very, very reverent energy, and energy that I have a lot of reverence for. But just a reminder that it annoys them just on the other end, just as much, if not more, than it may annoy you. I feel like you're not that annoyed, but it's frustrating over time, right? It does wear on you. There's a reminder here that they find you a bit annoying, like a goody two-shoes, maybe sometimes. Maybe you've just been in this energy for a while and you need reminding about that, right? Like, you're not in high school anymore, but most likely. But some people never really age out of that mentality. Which is a shame, but in any case, Snow White after eating the apple. I feel like this is for me. I'm going to go to bed. This card comes out to say you need a good sleep. And there's a little bit of an energy of, to make these, I spread the ink on one side and then I fold it over. So one side is a mirror to the other. And there's a little bit of an energy of like, because this card also plays with some concepts about what if Snow White ate the apple and then woke up in an office job that she hates, and she had sent emails under fluorescent lights all day until the dwarves figured out how to wake her back up to reality. There's a little bit of an energy of like, I don't know why I'm getting being either end of like an hourglass that sand is flowing through. And it's only when you're in these different stages, like we would say, people on a spiritual journey who hold this ascended master energy or potential or Christ consciousness aspiration, we can look at the other side of the hourglass and say, like, you are asleep, you're the one buried under all of this sand. Yeah. But from their perspective, they flip it over. From their perspective, they're looking at you snowed under a bunch of sand, and there's some sense from which when you're on these opposite, not even opposite, just different spaces within consciousness, the other one is so disparate. And there's so much experience in between it, and so much that is occulted between it, because you can never go back to that energy, and they like they can't imagine being in your energy until they've healed a lot, until they have been in it themselves. Yeah. There's so much that's obscured from the other's view that they can just as easily say, you're the one under piles of sand, right? With this highfalutin, holier than thou attitude, right? Like, you're the one on a high horse, or, you're the one who's delusional about the way that the world works, because the world is a hard place where I lose my head all the time, right? So also a reminder that they see you, like, you see them as someone mired in delusion. And we don't say this in a judgmental way. Again, it's a neutral observation about delusion and illusion. So you see them covered in the sands of delusion. They see you as equally delusional. They're in delusion, but you're delusional. That's interesting. There's a little bit of a reminder here about like who can see through the sands better. Someone who's sat in this position and has transcended and healed to the degree that you have, or someone who's in the heavier energy, right? Who has the higher vantage point, who has the ability to radically empathize more, and it's you. However, right now you might be like, Sam, I do not have that capacity at present, right? We can hold a very high energy and still get a little worn down. To which I will again say, you need a good sleep. I really do think that this is this is always a good recommendation, right? More sleep can't hurt. You may even see something in a dream that helps you that gives you a new perspective as well. Remember, you are the energy that values different perspectives, that knows how to learn from them and incorporate them, that moves like water or flowing sand and isn't rigid. Yeah, I'm not saying this isn't a like chastisement for ever sinking below the behavior of an ascended master, because you are human. And ascended masters are, we can count them on our fingers and toes, the ones that we know off the top of our heads, for a good reason, right? Because this is such a rare thing, and that's over thousands of years of human history. Yeah. So go easy on yourself. Just remember where they're at. Yeah. And if you're considering saying something, out of spite or out of an unhealed place, and you recognize that, but perhaps it would feel really good to do anyway, go to sleep, hit the reset button. In the morning, you may feel like perhaps that wasn't the decision I wanted to make. And I'm glad that I maintained my silence. It might not be the case, but it might. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for holding this energy. It makes the world a better place. Truly, truly, truly it does. Yeah. All right. I'll see you in the next reading. Take really good care.